So you wanted to
So anyway, we were gonna talk a
talk
little bit
about
about
how
COVID.
Trump is
Okay, cool.
We talked the other
ruining
day,
our electoral system, and
what
let's
I-
see what
I
were your
told
exact
you
words?
that I
Let's see
thought
what
the US had the worst response.
Trump
You
and
disagree with me
his
completely.
actions put our
And, so I
democracy
went and
in
looked
the
it up.
ditch.
And I went
Okay.
Maybe even a little
deaths per
COVID.
capita.
That's what
cases
we're looking
per
at here
capita.
today.
You can go,
Yeah.
well, we have the best testing, and we do. We have a lot
So-
of testing. Other places
You
don't
tell
have
me,
good
I mean,
testing, so I don't think that's a good measure. But I
Whenever
think
you
deaths
lose,
per capita
you're supposed
is
to
a really good measure. They don't like to put that one on the
start the
news
transfer of power
on any news, really.
Let the other guy come in
And we're number
start doing
8.
his
We're not
things.
number
I mean,
1.
you can always go and
We're number 8 out
fight
of
about,
150
you know,
countries.
go to court,
So
do a bunch of
we're
recounts.
like
you can do all that stuff.
right,
But
at
you
the
don't
top
put
of the
everything on
heap
hold
as
for the
absolute
for the
worst.
country.
There's a
and
couple
then,
other.
you know,
Wait,
he's
hold on.
basically
Let me
putting us
stop
in
you
the
there.
ditch right
We're
now
8 out of how many?
because he's going
150
Yeah, I don't-
he wants to hurt us.
150. What
Yeah,
you would call
well,
first world countries or first?
All countries.
that might be true.
Okay,
So,
I would
if you
have
go
to
first world countries.
see
There's
some
a couple
evidence
of them
that,
with
that
us in
Trump
the top
is
10. And then there's
doing this to
all the
hurt the
rest of
country.
them are doing much better than us. Even some
just-
What
European
kind of
just-
evidence
just
would you
because he
need? I
can.
mean,
Okay, so
what
wait,
kind of
so
evidence would
tell
you
me
need?
again
He's doing
how
it. We
8
can
out of
see it.
150
You
is
can see that
bad.
Biden doesn't have
doesn't have
So
any
if I-
access to anything.
worst. He's flying on his
Death
own money
rate
out there because he
per
can't even
capita.
get to the
If we were number
the
1, we
general
would have
fund
the worst
that's
death rate
supposed
per
to fund all
capita
this
of
transition.
any country.
Okay.
We're-
So you're saying, so
You-
you're
we're
saying
number
so
thing.
We're not the
we're
worst.
the eighth-
We are
we're the
completely with
8th
no help.
worst
That's not the way
out of
Trump came
150
in.
country death per capita. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I'd
right,
fact
but,
check that,
but-
and
but
yeah,
that was
I
a
fact checked
situation
it after
where,
our thing before.
you
You can fact check it too.
where
but-
there wasn't any legal
Uh,
challenges
and
to the election.
where-
we had,
where
we had the same
appalled
thing
that our
in
country
2000
being the
where
richest,
Gore challenged the
strongest,
election.
most
and,
technology, all the other
you know,
things that we have.
W
Why
wasn't
in the world
didn't have,
do we have
you know, he was delayed
such a
until
horrible
mid,
record
you
on
know,
this COVID?
close to
Okay,
mid-December.
well,
to
first of
begin a
all, I would have to
transition.
see where you're
It's not
getting
the end
your
of the
data.
world.
Because I don't trust all. I don't
You know,
trust
it's just
something
any
that
old
has
data
the
source.
process
Like a
has to
government
play
website
out.
would be okay for you?
And
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
do I think anything? Do I think anything will come
How
of
about
it?
John
Well,
Hopkins?
I
Is that
certainly
okay
hope
for you
not,
too?
because that'd be great. If
Those are your two
if
places
there's
to look,
anything
CDC
to
and
that would be
Johns
that would be
you know
sources-
that press
sources
conference
that I
was
would
held,
trust.
I guess what
last
last
Thursday,
My
where
follow-up
there's
question,
this
as it always is,
Dominion,
what could we have
voter
done differently?
fraud.
That's not armchair quarterbacking. That's not saying
type of stuff
oh,
going
it
on
was
in our
perfectly
elections,
obvious
and you know,
in
there's
late
millions
February
of
that
votes or
if we
tens
would
of
have just
thousands of
done
votes or even
this,
hundreds of thousands of votes that
then we would
have
have
been
been
manipulated
the
by the
150th
system. Then
death rate.
you know,
Right.
I really hope that's
country.
not true.
You know,
I really
I'm
hope
gonna
that's
I'm gonna
not
use
true.
a Trump quote here.
You
It is
I
what
don't
it is.
understand how
man.
the Trump.
It is what
I
it
don't
is.
understand how the
Yeah.
Trump
Because
supporters
you
can
get
always
what
go
you get.
straight to
But right
Yeah.
now,
National
we're in a big
Enquirer
spike that's
conspiracy
going on.
status.
Do you believe
I mean,
that?
if okay,
Oh sure, yeah. There's
you know how many
there's a bunch of people
conspirators
testing
it would
positive.
take.
Well,
in
not
all
only
that,
different
Our
regions
death
of
rate
the
is
country,
going up
different
too, because
states,
death rate is
different
a
jurisdictions
trailing
with any
indicator.
state.
So whenever you look at
to try
the
to pull
death
something
rate
like
compared
that
to the
off.
positive tests, you see the positive tests.
Yeah,
spike
well,
way
it would
up,
take a
and the
lot.
death rates have these little humps.
And if
Just
if it
trailing
turns
the-
out that
the
that
spikes,
happens to
right?
be the case, it
And we don't
just
have
goes
that.
to
That
show
hump
you
is
that
just on the upswing
you,
right
you
now,
really can't pull
okay?
that sort of thing
And
off without
that
being
hump is
caught.
probably going to hit the most right
And
around
so
Christmas time.
my
because of all the new
position on it
cases
is,
that we get.
and
Do you
I
believe
think
that?
that I would hope.
So what could we
that,
do today?
You know, and that was my
What could
position
we do
with
as a country?
Bush
today?
v. Gore. Is I want that
Maybe
the
some other
accurate
country has done. What could we do as a country today
election result. I want the
to nip
accurate
this in the bud right
election,
now?
election results, no matter if it goes
And we
against
got countries out there that-
Gore or whatever.
Australia had
I want the
5
accurate
new
thing.
cases.
And so if
this
there's,
week.
you know, if there
This
are
week.
these allegations,
New Zealand had
and,
0.
yeah, and what are they doing? There is a
Well,
there
they
is a
locked down a long
possibility
time
of
ago,
this
but what if- but if they
widespread
had to do it over
conspiracy or
again,
this
they would lock down again.
utilization of a
When they
certain
got the 5
software that could be
cases, They
manipulated
go out and they
fix
do
elections.
tracing on it,
I
right?
want that
We're
uncovered.
beyond the tracing thing. 'cause
I
this
want
thing
that
is just-
investigated.
I do
So,
too.
It's out. It's the genie out of the
Right.
bottle
So
now,
so I
as
don't
far
think
as the United
anybody's going to
States
get
is
away with
concerned.
anything.
Because
I
we're
think
even
at the end of
hitting
the
all
day,
the
what we're going to find is
Midwestern
that
states,
yes,
all the
perhaps the software
rural
had certain
areas,
connections
everything else is
with,
being
with
hit
something.
so hard right now.
Well,
So
wait
really,
a
we
second.
just
Connections.
I-
I know
mean,
everybody wants to say, "Oh,
connections
I'm not
with
going to lock
something.
down. I'm not going to lock down." Whatever.
Well, connections with
But that's
with,
the way.
with,
And we never
with
did a
governments
real
that have
lockdown,
made
to be honest with
utility
you. A real
this,
lockdown in other countries means
of this software
lockdown, stay
in
home.
other countries to
All this
manipulate
stuff about
elections.
essential workers.
I think
you'd
there
have to
might be
a
some
really
connections there.
super essential worker
but
to get out of your house.
That doesn't
And
necessarily
that's how
mean
they locked
that
it down.
that
We got to do something
the
because
vote was
we've got
manipulated
literally
here in the
months
United
before
States.
this
You know,
vaccination
it's
comes.
pretty hard to
And then you have to take both the
make the charge
vaccinations,
that
you have
you've
to
got
take 2
software
shots a month
manipulating
apart,
an election when Georgia
and,
did a hand
hope your
recount and it
vaccination
matched
sticks at
exactly
that
what
point,
the Dominion
right?
software
So
came
we're
up with in
looking
the
at
first place.
midsummer,
So,
late summer, by the time just a regular
is
diarrhea
there
like you
cause
and I
for
get
suspicion?
shot next
100%. I think there's
If it's
so
even-
much
if it's even
circumstantial
available
evidence
then,
that's what
depending on,
got everybody's
you know.
hackles up. So if
There's
there's
so
so
much
much circumstantial evidence, I mean,
if you were king for a day,
you know, Donald
you would
John
lock
Trump
down
just
hard
won the
everything.
second most amount
who would you,
of
who would you deem
votes,
essential
in
your lockdown?
nationwide of
pretty
any
much hospital workers.
president in history.
That's it.
Everybody
First
else
would be
stay
Joe
home
Biden
Yeah, that's
until
right.
until you receive the vaccine.
And had you
Pretty
told
much,
had,
yeah.
had I told you that before
Okay.
the election that
Yeah.
that Donald
And
Trump
you
was
don't
going
think
to
there's going
win
to be any
73
residual
million votes, what would your
fallout from
prediction
that
of the
sort of
election
thing?
be?
So that's the part we have a problem with. Here in the
I
United
still would have
States.
thought Biden was going to win.
Is
Oh,
that,
we're
and I
too-
knew it
we're
was going to be a big
too
deal.
greedy.
So
We've
as
got
close
all
as
those
our
freedoms
elections
and
always
rights,
are,
and nobody can be trampled on
you're
anybody.
bound, since we had the biggest
Yeah.
turnout ever,
But we
you're
can
bound
trample
to
on other
have that
people's
kind of
rights and
numbers,
freedoms
right? That both of them could have
by
the most ever.
exercising our own.
But the
Right.
trick is Biden's
We
still
can
Yeah,
make
and
somebody else
6
sick
million more,
by
right?
saying, I don't want to wear a mask.
Yep.
It's my right
And
not
so,
to wear a mask.
well, the thing, I
and
would
let
have
me
I
counter
would have had
your
no
king for a
problem
day with
predicting
my
the
king for a
election
day.
if you told
I
me
would say
Donald Trump was going to get 72
here's
million
the
votes,
deal.
10 million more than he
we're
got
doing
in
a full
2016.
lockdown except for
You would have had,
hospital
I
workers.
would have bet
we would
you
recommend
everything I have
a
that
full
Trump would have won.
that if you're afraid that
That's-
you're going to get
and
the
I think
virus and
that's-
die from it,
That's
that you don't
probably
go out
a
at all.
widespread
That you lock down, we'll
sentiment.
pass a bill
Is
that
that
will
how
take
is
care
it
of you
that
for this
Donald
for
Trump
this
got
entire thing.
10 million more votes
And if you're
for
afraid,
the second
gonna get
highest
sick,
vote total in
don't
all
go
of
out. Don't go to work.
U.S.
don't do
electoral
anything.
history and still lost?
The rest
You
of
would have had a hard
who
time
wanna
convincing
take
a lot
the
of people
risk,
that
you have that
something
freedom to
isn't
do it.
fishy going on here.
The rest of
On
you
top
stay
of
in.
that, you have
The rest of you who want to take the risk, don't want to wear the mask,
U.S. all
whatever
the
else,
down
you
ballot
have that
stuff
freedom
going on.
to make that
How is
decision.
it that
So we did last time.
we had a red
No,
wave
it's not.
down
Last time.
ballot and we
Sure
lost
did.
the
We
top
told
of the ticket?
everybody
That
to
is
stay in.
absolutely
you
unheard
wear a
of. That is
mask if you want to
completely
wear a mask.
unprecedented.
You do all
That
this.
has
It's all
never happened
wishy-washy.
in U.S.
And what that
electoral
does
history
is
ever, not
that
even
group
close.
of people that are still
Not
out
even
there
close.
circulating
In fact,
in society
there
are still
has never
spreading
been
the
a time
disease around
when
and around
the top
and
of
around,
the ticket
keeping it
hasn't
alive.
carried the House
And
and the
eventually,
Senate,
when the people have to
and
come
you've
out of their
had
homes, they
slight
come out to a
majorities in
diseased
each.
population.
When
It
the
doesn't make
top
any
of the
sense,
ticket
Matt.
has
Yeah.
when the
Well,
president is Democrat, the House and the Senate are Democrat. Period.
Yeah,
End of
that's
story.
that's
No
where I would
question
go
asked.
with it. I would say if you're too scared
No,
to go
that's
out,
true.
you
We'll
don't
go
go
back
out.
into history further.
Okay. Maybe in recent history,
Um,
the last few presidents, yes, but
These other
No,
countries are
no,
completely
no.
wide
It's
open.
actually the opposite.
No, go back,
Their
go all the
economies are
way.
back where they were.
No, it's
I mean,
not.
they're
Go
completely
no.
wide open.
It's not.
They
Go
didn't
all
have
the
to
way back
suffer
in
any of the
history. Okay,
effects
so
that
we can
did.
fact check that.
Why is
But
that?
All right.
that's just
Because of our
never
rights and
happened.
freedoms? Is
You
that the
don't-
cost of our freedom?
You don't see
Yeah, well, and that's
a
and
wave of the other
that's
party
where,
down
again,
ballot
you and I
when
would
the
differ,
top of the
differ
ticket.
philosophically.
You just
is
don't see that. It's
you know,
unprecedented.
whatever
Completely
Maybe that's for a
right
second,
you're
but
willing to
there-
give up for safety.
For our last thing about
Okay.
ballots
you know,
and all
whatever
that stuff.
freedom,
That's not a fact.
when
Although
you're willing to
we-
give
we've
up
had
freedom
split
for
ones for the
safety,
last few
you
presidents. It
deserve
was
neither.
actually
I don't
opposite,
remember who
where we
said
had
that, but some
A Republican
guy
or
back in the day
Democratic
said that.
Senate and Congress.
Okay.
You know, versus,
So,
It's
they
the
were
same
actually
thing with
split,
something like
Eisenhower and
the
Kennedy and so
Patriot Act.
forth were like that. But,
when you know when
the
when
more
when,
recent times
you know,
we've had these
I-
split
my
deals
heart,
and
I mean, I
very
became
very
a
close, you know,
a
margins
W,
across the Congress and across the
W-
Senate, right? But
just- yeah.
I just
I was so
just
disappointed in
can't
W when he came out with
fathom
the Department of
how
Homeland
a
Security.
person can believe
I was just like,
that
that is
we have this
trading
huge
freedom
conspiracy
for
trying to
safety.
take over the United States.
And when you're willing to do that,
and it was
I agree with
homebrewed
the sentiment
within
that
several
when we
different
give up- when
areas
we give
and
up
all that.
freedom
I can't
for
fathom
safety,
that, and I really don't
we deserve
understand
neither freedom nor safety.
why Trump.
And
let's
that's
take
and
another.
that's how
another
that's going to
stance,
turn
too.
out.
You just
And the
said,
history
how
has
could
shown.
he have 10 million more
So these
than
other
anybody
countries
else
who have
ever had?
given that up,
That
yeah,
means he had to have
you know,
10 million.
um,
Did he have 10 million more more than
in the short
Hillary
term,
did last time, or
perhaps
10 million more than
they might look
he had?
better than
10
us
million
in the
more than he
numbers.
had, right?
But in the
Yeah,
long term, when it comes
Yeah.
to freedom,
So Hillary had 3 million
um,
more than he had last time,
they
right?
just completely
So that means
surrendered
Joe
their freedom.
Yep.
Had to
because
have
when you
13
when you
million
surrender
more.
your
So it means we
freedom,
had to have a total of
those are very, very difficult things to
23
get back.
million
And I think
additional
that if
voters
anything has
in
shown
this.
that, it's the
Just
Patriot Act
rough math.
and
Just,
and the,
we had to
and
have
the Department of Homeland
23
Security.
million
I mean, how many,
additional new voters
you
people
can't
that
even get
hadn't
through an
voted,
airport properly
people that
anymore.
newly
I mean,
registered voters
20
or
years
something,
ago,
and that's plausible, don't you think?
Terrorists attacked us.
Yeah,
with,
no,
with
it's
box
absolutely
blades.
possible.
And so now,
my
you know,
point,
I'm
my
one
point in the whole
less,
thing is
a
that,
knife
is
from
that
my
the
grandfather.
circumstantial evidence is.
well, actually, I still have it because I mailed it to myself and I
The
missed
problem
flight.
is that the
you know,
circumstantial
It's a bunch
evidence
of- that's
points
you know,
to a whole bunch of
you're
theories,
giving up safety,
but the
you're
real
giving up
evidence
freedom, seatbelts.
tells us
all
exactly
that
what the
stuff.
outcome is.
You
And
know,
that's where
where
he's
the
losing in
government comes
court.
in and
You know,
says,
he's lost in
this is what's best
20 odd,
for you.
almost 30 court cases,
And you
trying
take
to
away
prove
the
nothing
decisions
because
from
he
the
has no evidence
individuals.
when he walks into court.
I
when
think
his-
it's a
when
very
Well, and
Sidney
so-
dangerous
O'Grady walked in.
trajectory. And I think when you're willing to
Yeah.
give up your freedoms for safety,
Right. So
I think you're going down a very, very dangerous
think
path.
that the wise
Oh,
thing to
boy.
do is just
You're
let this
heading
play
down a
out.
whole different path now. when you're
There
talking
were
about
there were
seatbelts. You probably don't like car insurance. You
there
don't
were
like any of that
extreme
stuff.
accusations made at that
Well, I don't. No,
press conference.
I don't like anything that
about
Get rid of
government
pharmacists who
software
just buy
and
online or
vast
anything like that.
voter fraud.
I don't.
It's all
I
about
don't.
safety because
If nothing
you know,
else,
the
I
problem
want
we
that.
have, though,
I
is
want
that
that
a
completely
lot of people
disproved
aren't as educated as
because
They can make
whatever
those
side you
decisions.
fall on this,
and they really don't know what is
we
safe.
want to have
What
confidence
about OSHA?
in our
We wanna get rid of
elections.
that too? 'Cause
We don't
that's
want
pretty
any,
easy.
sure.
even
Yeah,
though
absolutely.
there's
I
all
hate
this
OSHA.
circumstantial evidence
Yeah.
surrounding
I don't like any.
the
I don't
election.
like any.
We want it disproved
governmental,
that there was any
authority coming in
chicanery
and
on
telling me
in a
that
widespread
they
way
know
going
what's
on.
best for me.
So I'm perfectly fine with them spending
above
this
what
time.
I think
Gore
is best
spent
for me.
until
Well, what about
about
the
the middle
EPA?
of December,
Same thing.
roughly,
Get rid of the
trying to
EPA.
prove his case,
People
trying
can dump whatever they
to
want,
wrangle
no
enough
matter how
votes
they dump it.
to overturn
Yep.
Florida,
Because
and our
what-
republic survived just fine.
that
I don't think
what
that
we do is what we
that
have a tendency
Trump
to
and his
do
team are
is
putting anything
front
in the
load
ditch.
this whole safety of the
I just
populace
think
thing
that
first,
that there's enough
rather than the freedom of the populace first.
situations
And
to
then
raise
on
an
the
eyebrow
back
to
end
say,
of that,
hey,
saying, okay,
let's go ahead and investigate this
We
thoroughly
haven't-
and just say, hey, this was a
we've given
very, very unique
we've
election.
given individuals in this country
that
the freedom
yes,
to make these
the incumbent
decisions,
president
and we can't figure out
received 10 million
any
more
other
votes than
way
he did last time,
other than
but
to
there was enough
enact a
opposition
government
to
regulation
him to
prevent
overcome that.
individuals from making
That,
really
that
bad
in
decisions.
virtually every
Here's
House
a
race, Senate
case in
race,
point.
whatever you want to call
Twitter,
it,
Facebook,
the polls
the-
and predictions
the,
were completely wrong.
Silicon Valley,
That down ballot, while Trump
tech
lost, the
giants.
Republicans won. In circumstance
I don't
upon
want
circumstance, that's
I don't want to
fairly
regulate
peculiar.
them. I don't want the
How does
government to
that
come in
work?
and say that Facebook
Georgia
can't do this and Twitter
has
can't do
never
that. and
voted
Google
for
can't do this and that and the other
Democrat.
thing.
I mean, I've not
Right.
never, but I
they are
you know,
perfectly
the
within their
shelf
rights
life
to make
on
their
a,
own decisions
uh,
about how they want
Democrat
to run their companies.
presidential
However,
candidate
when we get to a
winning
point where we
Georgia
just
is,
can't find
not
any other
in,
solution
our memories,
other
at
than to say,
least.
Right.
okay, tech
So
companies,
this is all worth investigating. It's all worth investigating.
It's like the
But
civil.
you just said the
civil
Georgia
rights
one
act.
that they went back.
The
and
government
checked it
stepped in and
everything
said,
was
okay,
fine.
Yeah.
You feel
Yeah.
confident with
Businesses,
Georgia, right?
You cannot not
I
hire
do.
a man because
Okay.
simply because he's black. That's against the law.
So
We're just going to make that against the law.
But let them present
That was
their cases.
that was the last
cases in
resort.
court. I mean, we're still only
What
3 weeks out
what
from the election. And
Dems
recall
wanna
in
do,
2000,
what,
we were
you know,
5 or 6
hard
weeks out from the
leftists
election
want to do
until
is
finally the
front-load that
Supreme
and say
Court put a
that's
stop
the
to
first
it.
solution.
And it
That's not
wasn't
the
the Gore
first
campaign that put a stop
That's
to
the
that.
last solution.
Right.
It was the Supreme
So
Court.
if the last
So,
solution to
that,
providing
if
Americans
that
free
happens in this
speech is to come in and say,
circumstance,
okay,
that's-
Facebook, Twitter,
that's the way it goes.
Google, and let's
You
not
guys
forget
have to
that
abide
the
by
Dems
the Constitution. Spent the
Constitution,
last 4 years
which
trying
means
to
that
overturn
unless
the
somebody is
2016
inciting violence,
election with no
or
evidence
in-
whatsoever.
using
That's
fighting words,
That's all
the everything
Democrats
that's
have been
Wait a
doing
second. No,
the
no,
past
no,
4
no. You're
years.
not gonna
Forget
have
about
any
your
exceptions.
health care or anything else.
Can't have
No,
exceptions to your rules.
infrastructure or
Now you're being
anything
extreme.
that might be important for the
Well,
people.
you're
They've
being
spent
extreme.
all of
You're
that
the one who
time,
wants to get rid
the
of
past
the
4
EPA
years,
and
trying to
everything.
overturn the
what I'm saying
2016
is,
election.
what I'm saying is
That's
that
what
is
they've
not
done.
our first
I
solution.
don't recall one court case
if
of
a
the
company
Dems
is polluting a
trying to
river,
overturn anything about
our
votes on the
first solution
election
is
or
not to say,
electoral
oh, let's make
college or
let's make a
anything
law.
like that.
There should
I
be a
do
law against that.
remember
That's
when Trump
hard
got
leftists say.
impeached.
Whenever
I
there's
do
a
remember
problem,
when he was
they
in
say,
how do you
let's make a
stop
law.
them from polluting then?
all
if
the
there's
other
no
things.
law? I remember
Because
all
they
that,
go out
but
of
that had
business.
nothing to do with overturning
The
the
market
election. But they
will
don't.
not-
He was elected. He was
They
inaugurated.
do. I mean,
That was
history
just
has shown that
trying
companies
to
that
rein him in
companies
on
that
trying to
are
get him to do something.
that will
Trying to expose what
sacrifice
he'd already
ethics
done.
and morality.
Okay.
What happened to your life?
Sure.
So
bumped
so
it
the
again, sorry.
so in one
I
way or
gotcha.
another, the Democrats have spent the
There you
last
go.
4 years trying to
Sorry
get Trump
about
out of
Companies,
office.
companies that will
Maybe
sacrifice
not
ethics and
overturn it,
morality
but that
do
but
not
that,
last.
for all intents and
Mhm.
They
purposes,
die out.
overturns an election, does it not?
Does-
If they are going to
Didn't
pollute
everybody
a
try to get
river so they
Obama
can
out of
so they
office and
can
they
have
keep
some
on
sort
going
of
backwards?
short-term
For about
financial
50
gain,
So when did
they don't last.
But
what
they
I
don't care
recall
because
is the
they just pollute the
Republicans
river and they move on.
took
they pollute another
impeachment for
river and they
Obama
move on.
completely off the
And they
table. They
make that
said that.
short-term
Mitch
financial
McConnell
gain
said
because
that.
that's what capitalism
Okay,
is.
okay,
we
so
want to
little
collect
people.
as much money as we can.
Okay,
Right.
and so
And they didn't have
if we
anything
can't-
to
if we can't find
And they
any
didn't
way
have
to stop
anything to
that.
they didn't have
You
anything
can't.
to
We can't-
impeach Trump
Okay,
over.
then we
But
might
by
say,
law.
hey, look, then we
Not
might
one
say,
shred
okay,
of
look,
that.
Why,
It's illegal
why
to
is
do
Trump's buddies
A, B,
all
and
in
C.
jail?
on the
Wasn't that
fact,
what we've done already? That's why
um,
we have an EPA?
I have no
Okay.
idea what you're
Because we
talking
found
about.
that we
Yeah,
All I know is
but
that
they
they
did
did
not
not
produce
produce
one
one
shred
shred
of
of evidence
All right.
that
EPA
would
and
that
its
would
regulators have overreached.
that would have been
the same thing
admissible
with
in any other situation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
all
same
right.
thing in trucking,
Okay.
right?
Not one.
Truckers
The
are falling
DOT.
asleep.
So
I believe
Yeah,
he was.
so-
impeached
Truckers are falling
so
legally
asleep
let's
while
not
driving on the
so
road.
Obviously,
what
the
I'm
DOT
looking
too.
for
So how are we
looking
gonna
forward
solve
to
that?
is
Let's come
if
in
we can
with
just
some
get to a point
massive
where Republicans and
restrictions
Democrats
on how
aren't trying to
truckers
overturn
do
elections.
their thing.
I'll be happy
Truckers
to
have
say
run
that,
logbooks forever.
because I
remember
don't
my
think
dad-
you're not going to see that
yeah,
from
sure.
the
Making up his
Republicans.
logbook.
Now,
right?
what you might see
Right,
is Nancy
right,
Pelosi
right.
trying
but
to
the thing of it is, we
25th
learned how to get
Amendment
around that when we
Biden
did
out
the
of
paper
office.
laws.
I
right?
think you might see a
But
little
then
bit
when
of
they,
that
but then when
going
they
on.
come in with this, oh well,
May not
the
need
truckers
to.
are
We'll just see what
forging
happens
their,
with his health. I
their
think he'll be
logbooks,
fine.
right?
It could be.
So
yeah.
now-
But if he gets,
No,
if
and
he
he
has a
might now
problem,
we have to
he'll,
instead of saying,
he
okay,
has a
wait a minute,
problem,
truckers
then,
are forging their logbooks.
we
Instead
gotta-
of saying,
every-
okay, well let's
he's going to have to do what he needs
He
to
has
do.
a
Maybe
problem.
come
he'll
up with
say,
He can't
common
put-
sense
The man can't put
way
two
we
sentences
can
together.
we can deal with
I
this.
don't think you watch him enough. I think
They,
all you
they've
watch
come
is
in
sound
with a
bites.
way that there's no way to
But
forge
anyway.
logbooks anymore.
Well, that's okay.
I
You shouldn't
can
forge
tell
them
you-
anyway, should you? How come,
No, absolutely not.
But the thing of it
his
is-
whole life is either
But
bought
the
or
thing of it
bullied
is
his
that
way to
what
winning,
happens
his
with government
definition of
regulations
winning.
that's our first solution.
and he's come
That
to a
should not
point
be our first
today
solution.
he
People's
can't do
personal
that.
freedom should be our first solution, and the
and
last
he's-
solution should
because
be
he's been
government
voted
stepping in
down.
and saying, okay, we
He
can't solve
lost.
this any other way,
and
we've
he's
got
not
to
coming
step
to terms with it.
So
Right.
you could,
We're
if
3
you
weeks
wanted
after
to,
the election.
I mean, your truck's equipped with the electronic
he
logbooks.
isn't
We talked about
cooperating
this
with
at the
anything.
time
He won't
before.
even have a
So
press
if you wanted to,
conference.
though, if you were an
He won't
owner
let his
operator, you
press
could still run paper
secretary have a
logbooks,
press conference.
right?
No,
Nobody will
no,
answer
absolutely not.
questions.
Nope.
Not even
On
Pompeo.
trucks,
Everybody's
I'm trying to
completely
think.
closed
Trucks
lipped about
that were
anything to
made
do with the
later
government
than
whatsoever for
it's,
the last 3 weeks.
somewhere in the 2000s.
Why is that?
I can't remember the trucks that are grandfathered in.
Well,
trucks that are made after that.
I mean, he had pressers
must be
almost
equipped
every day,
with electronic
all
laws.
through
Oh,
October,
okay. I didn't know
all
that.
the way till election day.
Yeah, so
Now
that
he's
you
now
can't get.
the
It's
whole
very
thing
very
is
difficult
locked
to get
down.
around
Why is
unless you
that?
go buy a much
well,
much
if
older truck.
if I'm a
Yeah.
So,
lawyer,
you know,
if I'm one of Trump's lawyers,
Pretty much 80s and 90s model.
what I'm
trucks
going to tell
are
the
exempt.
administration is,
Right.
But stop
But
talking. All
don't
the
say a word,
FMCSA
don't
has
say
to do is come
anything,
in and
don't
say,
make public
okay,
appearances,
all
don't
those
make
trucks
press
that are older,
conferences.
they're no
We're in the
longer
middle,
allowed on the
middle
road.
of a legal proceeding.
It'll be
and
hard to lease them
my
anyway
advice to
because
you
people
is,
want you to have a newer truck. with
don't make it.
less
Don't do
miles
any of
on
that.
it, so it's more efficient and all that
And
kind of
sounds
stuff.
like
You
they're
want a newer
taking
truck
that
too,
advice.
right?
Well,
but they got a
true,
country
but,
to run. You don't want a worn out truck. They've got-
yeah,
but
well,
anyway,
you
getting
don't
back
have
to
to do press
regulation.
conferences to run a
So
country.
what about the?
No, but they've got people to
NRC,
answer
the Nuclear
to as
Regulatory
far as
Commission.
us, the American citizen.
We don't
We
need
want
those
to know
guys
what's
either.
going
That's-
on, and that's why they need to have press
Well,
conferences.
not to the extent
Right.
we have them. But the thing of it
No.
is that
I think we're
again, if I
overregulated.
were Trump's lawyer,
Okay.
I would
We're
say yes, the
overregulated.
American people have a right to know what's going on.
Because,
But right
again,
now,
again,
you
it
can't
does.
give them a straight answer
The
about what's
COVID
going
thing
on
is a very-
because we
is a
haven't had the
microcosm
opportunity to present
of-
what's going on. We've got to
of
let this
how
play out
we've
in court.
come to
Then
depend
once
on the
it
government
plays out in court, then we
to-
can all come
to
out
determine
on the press
whatever
conference
it is we're going to do.
and say, okay,
Instead of
here's
somebody
what the
saying,
court
hey,
decided. You know what?
Mhm.
Here's the direction
the
things are
government
going.
comes out,
and then
Fauci steps out
after
and
that,
says, hey,
we can speak.
here's
about
what we
it. But-
recommend.
But we wait
You
for
know-
the process to play out.
Here's what we
He
think
can't
you
win
ought
by
to do.
tweet. That's for sure.
If
He
you
has
want to
win
stay
either-
safe from this,
No.
we're
He has
not going
to
to
win
make
by
we're
the
not going to make any
votes.
laws.
That's
We're
all
not
there
going
is
to
to
really
it.
regulations.
I have-
We're not
I
going
have
to
faith that
demand.
even,
But here's what we think
complete
you ought to
right-leaning
do.
Supreme
And then
Court
saying, we trust
is
you
gonna
as
hold up the
Americans
Constitution
to make the proper
and do
decision.
the right thing if
So is that worked
presented
out
with
for us?
something with. If he has
Um,
evidence,
Well,
why hasn't he presented the evidence in
I
3
don't think
weeks?
so, because what
Well,
you've gotten is
Why has
so
he
in
got
the
somebody like
beginning
Giuliani?
is a
Why
lot
has
of
everybody else basically
hard-
fired him
hey,
and backed
you
out
know,
and not
bars
be his
can't be
lawyer,
open.
and you've got Giuliani
and so
and,
what
this
have
Signet
freedom loving
gal
Americans done to
are
that?
the
Done with
only
that?
2 people that are flying all
They've
over the
rebelled
country
against it.
now putting together. Well, of course, they got people helping them, obviously.
So instead of saying,
they're
hey, the
mouthpiece.
decision
They're
is
the
up
ones
to
that show
you,
up in court, though,
here's what we
to
recommend.
argue
Hey,
the case,
truckers,
but they have
we
nothing to
recommend that
argue
you only
with.
drive 11 hours
Every
a
judge
day
has
and you
thrown
sleep
them
10
out and
hours a
told
day.
them that it's basically
That's what we
a frivolous
recommend.
suit.
Yeah.
So
Because we
why
think
is
it's
that?
very,
Why-
very dangerous.
Why
for
don't they
you to do
have
that.
something?
In fact, studies
Where's
have
the
shown
evidence?
that if you drive this much time
that's what's got to happen.
that
That's my
that
question
that
too.
amount of rest break,
You know,
that-
Powell and
that's going to
Giuliani
be dangerous
have
to you.
got
You
to
could die. You could wreck
file
your
a
truck,
court proceeding
and
and
leaving
present
it
the
up
evidence
to the
That's what's gotta
individuals
happen.
to
But
take
they've
the
done
data and
almost
say,
30 of them,
okay,
and they
you know
haven't
what? That's
presented
probably a
any
pretty good
evidence.
idea. In
So-
fact,
Well, they have.
Where's
they
the
have-
evidence?
if I were to
Right, they
join
haven't
on
filed
with the
suit.
trucking
They haven't
company
filed suit
that
on
ran
their
paper
claims
logs,
about Dominion,
I would still
and
pretty
that's
much,
that's the one we're
just
really
say, look, I'm
really
not,
waiting
I'm not
on.
going to drive. I'm not
because,
going to get out there and drive
the other
20 hours a day.
lawsuits
I'm,
No.
and
are
sleep 4 hours.
insubstantial.
I'm not
You're
going to do
exactly
that.
right.
You
And
know?
my hope is
Well, it
and
should
it-
up on your
and,
log anyway because it shows where your
is that what-
destination is and where you
well,
started.
100%.
Powell is seeing or what Powell has
but,
been
but let's just say,
presented
let's just say they
with
just wiped all those regs
as
off
far
the
as
book, and we can
as
do
far as
whatever
the
we
Dominion
want.
software goes.
I wouldn't let a truck.
is
I wouldn't let a
something
trucking
she's
company run me
misinterpreting,
like that.
and the
No.
judge
I would
is
be
going to
like,
see
hey,
that.
you know what? I can go
and,
get another job
It's
tomorrow.
going to be proven
It's not-
that
you know,
that
But
that
you
we
take care of
had
yourself.
a free and
You
fair
probably know
election.
other
That's my hope,
truckers that would
and
do
that
that.
Biden's going to be president.
100%. Right.
That's
And
my
I
hope.
think the vast
So
majority
those
of
people
that
need to be
Even her,
regulated.
she even
And
screwed
you
up
go
into that group
Wayne
thing.
County, Michigan,
Because
Wayne
we
County,
still
Minnesota,
have people
'cause she
that'll do
doesn't
that.
know
I mean,
the
I was
abbreviations
driving
for states.
up toward
Okay, well, that's
Cleveland.
Anyway,
on,
so
Thursday
Whoa,
morning.
wait a
Yeah,
second. Oh yeah,
And
well,
I had a
anyway,
semi,
come
and I
on,
leave
man.
semis in wide
What's going
berths
on
because
with
I
you?
grew up
This
with
is like a little
semi-truck
circus
driving
that's
dad.
going on.
well, you
I know
should.
This is not
you-
America. You know, and our cousin Brian, I know what you guys need for
okay.
space and all
Well,
that.
Yeah.
And
I don't disagree
the
with
guy
that.
moved over,
but
he
but
was in the
I don't
left,
think
just
what's
passed
been
another
going on
truck,
the
moved
past
over to
4
the
years
right,
has been
and I was gonna
exactly
go ahead and go around
exemplary.
Hold on, let's not
And
go
the
back
guy
to the
came right
past. We're
over in
talking
my lap.
about this particular
And it just,
thing.
he, I don't know what he
Oh,
was
so
doing.
it's
back to
it's
the
cool.
past
So
text
it's cool.
message
So it's
or whatever he
cool
was
for
doing.
the
No signal,
Democrats
no
to do
nothing, just came
nothing
right over my life.
for
But
the past
I was
4
prepared
years,
for it, and I just
but
backed
try
up,
to
let
get
him-
rid
let
of
him get
Donald Trump.
straightened
That's
out,
all
and
they've
went on
done.
around
They
it,
haven't
you know,
done a
after he
damn thing
figured
other
out
than
where
that.
he was going, you know?
I think
But
they put
that used to happen quite
almost
often
500 bills
before.
on
I don't
Mitch
think it
McConnell's
happens as
desk
often anymore.
that never
And
saw
I think
the
that
Senate.
the regulation
How about they
helps
did
it, don't
that?
you?
Oh yeah. Well, sure. Oh yeah.
No, but all their energy went into
No. I'm
You
telling
crack
you,
down on folks, they're going
maybe
to,
their energy
you know,
that you
they're
saw
they're
went
going to
into-
they're going to
went
abide by
into
the
impeaching
crackdowns
Donald
because
Trump.
again, the vast
But the rest
majority
of their
of folks
energy,
out
that
there
other
want
90%
to
of their
obey the
energy,
law.
went
They want to
into
do
putting
what's
bills
recommended.
on Mitch McConnell's
My-
desk
my-
that never saw the
that's
Senate.
that's
My
very, that's
position is
really difficult
that,
when all you've got to do is throw up some
is that
bullshit
the
bill
crackdowns
in front of the House and have
only
you know,
affect the people. So
have
for
a bunch
instance,
of
you know, again, take
wildly
guns.
left-leaning
you
representatives vote
make
for it and
bump
send it
stocks
over to McConnell.
illegal?
That's not
You
difficult
think
work.
law-abiding gun
They
owners
spent-
are
they
gonna
spent-
go out and I'm just going to buy bump stock.
Did
No,
McConnell put
no,
any
they're not.
bills
They're going to
forward?
abide by that law.
And
That's right.
and the
Who's
House
going
Democrats
to who's
spent
going
no
to
time
disobey the law? The
negotiating
same
with
people
Trump.
that were
None.
disobeying the law in the
They
first
spent
place.
no time
Same thing with Trump.
negotiating with the
Yeah.
Senate. None.
You can crack down
There was
on
no
them as much as you
negotiation
want.
on
It's
anything.
going to help, sure, a little.
Trump wanted to do an
Um,
infrastructure
but
plan,
at the end of the day,
under
what you're going to
normal
get
circumstances
is
probably
the
could have
truckers
gotten
that
wide
weren't,
bipartisan support. Trump wanted to do that.
abiding by the law
was
in
a
the
Trump
first
thing.
place.
Didn't
Disobeying
happen.
the law. You know,
Trump
and
was ready to.
on top of
you know,
that,
he said
you
it
take,
openly.
an issue
Hey,
like
I'm ready
seatbelts.
to
That
give
was a
complete
big thing with
amnesty
me.
to
I hate
all the
seatbelts.
dreamers.
Can't stand seatbelts.
But
Um,
Me too.
they-
I
yeah,
remember when they
negotiation.
came into law before
Okay.
before you were driving. I was
whatever
already
Trump
driving when they
wanted,
came into
the
law.
Democrats were
Yeah,
against.
I mean it's ridiculous.
That's
I mean,
how it
so,
went down.
So
On top of
you're
that,
telling
they
me
spent
that
their entire
you're gonna
time and the
require me to
majority of
put
their
on a
energy
seatbelt.
as leaders
If
trying
I want
to
to, if I
discredit
think that
Trump
the
as
situation,
president instead of saying, okay,
bears on me in
we
such a
screwed
situation
something
that
up
I,
here.
that I need to put on a
Trump
seatbelt,
got
I'll put
elected.
on a seatbelt. When I'm in a
he's
car,
the president.
I put
Either
on a
we can
seatbelt. When I'm
spend
in a
all of our
truck,
time and energy
if I
doing
need a
this,
seatbelt in a truck, something
trying
really,
to
really
discredit
really bad
his
happened.
election,
Yeah.
which was
So usually, if
deemed to
something
be
happens with a truck, it's usually
fair,
really bad anyway.
fair election.
Well,
President
really.
Trump got fairly
Well, it
elected.
can be,
Right?
but
there was
but
no
for the most
Russian
part,
interference.
if you're
Trump
a to not
trucker
collude with
and a
anybody
I
to
don't
get
know.
elected.
They
save
used
your
Dominion
life.
when he got elected too.
Uh,
So if it's
anyway,
bad,
the point
I
being,
get you.
well,
Maybe he never got
right,
elected.
okay,
I get you.
so I want
There you go.
as much as it is
Okay,
within
so
us
we can talk about that.
to leave.
So let me
systems
ask you
to
something.
Individuals. Is there a
In-
cost to that?
In,
Of
in our
course.
system of checks and balances,
but
in
on the
Congress
flip
and
side of
Senate
that,
and President,
What's
who
the
makes the
cost
laws
if
and
we,
who owns
if
the
we
purse strings?
say, okay, we can't leave decisions up to individuals anymore? That's just not.
Well,
I didn't say that. I'm
who
just
writes
saying
the
that
law?
in
The House owns
COVID, you know,
we should have handled it a different way. And we still have an
who
opportunity
writes the
right
laws,
now
who's supposed to write
to
the
handle it
laws,
stronger
are the three
and
branches
actually
of
handle
government.
it versus
No,
just
Right.
letting it keep
Well,
riding
Congress
until we
writes the
finally get a
laws,
shot in
and
the
they
arm.
send it up to
And
the
then
Senate.
hopefully
The Senate either
that's supposed
approves
to be
it or
95%
rewrites it or sends it back to
effective.
them.
That means
until
until
they
2020
have-
is still going to get
Well,
it anyway.
Okay.
And then the
But out of that
president,
20,
after it's
20,
all
140 is going to
done,
die. So
the president gets
it's,
involved and he
you know,
can either
it's
approve it
better
or
odds than
veto
we
it.
have right now.
That's
right?
the way it's
Well,
written
and,
in the
and again,
Constitution. It's
you know, like
not
I say,
that
there's really
Nancy
with
Pelosi
all this
needs
stuff, there's
to,
really no
negotiate
solution.
with the
There's
Secretary
only
of
trade.
Treasury that's
That's
under
right.
the president's thumb
So what
for
if you
uh,
say,
our
okay,
COVID
if you're king for
money.
the day and you say, okay, we're
That-
going
that
to
is not how it
lockdown, only
this is
hospital
completely
workers
out
are
of
allowed
bounds.
out,
And
no
what you
grocery
just told
stores,
me about the immigration
no-
thing with
no
the dreamers
trucks,
and all that.
no
Trump can
nothing.
throw all that stuff
Right.
out. and
Only
say,
hospital
I
workers
told him
are
I could do
allowed.
this. I told him I'd do this.
Lock
But
it down.
at what cost?
And
What else did
so
he have hanging on there?
what
you know?
what are you
And he
trading
never
off
got
for
it
that?
done because he
No
never,
bars,
whenever
no
they offered
restaurants,
them a
no
bill,
department
grocery
stores,
cover
stores,
would he bring to
malls,
the
no
floor
nothing.
No,
for them
no
to
grocery
grocery
stores.
stores
review,
would be a tough one. I
for
get
them
that.
to
I know
rewrite
pe-
or
people don't
negotiate
have
or
2 weeks
anything.
worth of
The
groceries
Senate
in their
sat on
cupboards
their
all the time.
hands the
So we
entire
might have to have a way to
4
get.
years.
I'll tell you what they didn't
And
do.
they let Trump
delivered groceries to them.
steamroll the Congress back
Yeah,
and
but
forth.
well, okay.
crazy
So, but
Nancy
who's going
could
to
be
deliver the groceries?
Then
to
you
the
got
grocery
delivery
holding
people out
everybody
there
up,
that
but
are
it's not.
essential. Yeah.
It was Mitch McConnell,
Right.
and you know.
Okay, and so and then where do you draw
I don't
that line?
know
So
that, and I just
I
completely
completely
disagree.
disagree with
Delivery
your assessment
people that had,
of that situation
Uh,
because you know
masks
as
and
well as I
gowns on
do
even, too,
that the
whenever they delivered
Democrats
food,
in the
believe it or
House
not.
try
So-
to attach
saw
all
them on
kinds
TV,
of
I'm just like,
nonsense
wow, I can't believe
to
they're
bills
actually
like an
going out
infrastructure
there with
bill,
full
like a Dreamers
PPE to
bill,
deliver food
like
to,
a COVID
somebody
relief
that's under
bill
quarantine.
that completely makes no sense whatsoever, and that they
and
know
so
the Senate
we've
Republicans
got
aren't going to
a-
agree
a
to, and that's
situation
why
where
McConnell
already we
doesn't
don't
bring
have
it to the
enough
floor
men
because
to
crazy
haul
Nancy
goods
attaches
to even
bullshit
grocery
to those
stores.
bills, which
So if you locked it down
stripped
and
of
you say,
that
okay,
would be perfectly
you know,
fine bills.
Matt, you're out.
But the
because
Dems have to
you
try to
haul
attach
steel
all their
to car
political,
That's
you
not
know,
essential.
radical
Only people
left-wing
that haul food.
nonsense to
That's it,
very
right?
common sense
No-
bills
no-
like a Dreamers
no other
bill,
goods.
like an infrastructure
Right.
bill, like a
Well, they
COVID
can't
bill.
buy them
She
anyway,
does this
so you might as
every
well just
time
shut them down
so
for
she can
2
appease
weeks.
somebody like the
We're not going to
blonde
make cars for 2
2
weeks. You
weeks.
don't need to haul
So-
Alexandria
Well, right.
Ocasio
Well, no,
Cortez.
what I'm talking
you know,
about is, you know,
stop the entire
So she
supply
so
chain
she
for
doesn't
2
get
weeks.
outflanked by the left
Okay.
wing of her party, and
You
of
have to.
course
And that's-
McConnell is not going to put that
Right.
kind of bill on the
And
floor
that's-
because he
and
knows it's going to
gonna-
fail.
That's gonna
No,
that's going to
they are not going to get the Republican votes in the Senate
that's
for that kind
You
of
pick it up in
nonsense.
2 weeks.
They've got to
Yep.
bring across
And you
a
go- and
common
you run
sense
with it
bill without all the
And hopefully
BS
you wipe it
find
out.
out, and then
attached to it.
and then you find
That's
out
what's going on, and you
wait a
know
second,
it.
we tamped it
I
down.
give you credit
then
for
a month
that one, is
later,
that there's always pork
spikes back
attached
up
to
again.
it, but it's pork from both sides. You
I don't know.
Other people aren't
No,
having that problem.
it's not. Okay, name the pork in the
They tamped
COVID
it
bill.
down. They kept it down.
Name it.
Even China
What-
did. They even
what-
China
Something
gets
about
a much
a
better rating than us. It's like,
museum.
and I know you're going to say,
No,
but
no,
breast counting,
there's-
they don't give us
yeah,
right
you're
numbers, all that kind of stuff.
grasping.
I know.
What
Nobody gives
McConnell
everybody the
wants
right
is
numbers,
a
including
$5
us.
$5
So you
$5
can only
billion
go with the numbers
COVID
that you
bill
can
that
get
is
from a
very
credible
targeted
source. But
towards
anyway.
small business, and
Well,
that's it.
and
There's
so my
nothing
approach is
attached
much more
to that.
middle of
It's
the road.
very
It's to say,
simplistic. It's very
Oh, no,
Yours
you're
is
minimalistic.
completely
That's it.
right-handed.
Okay, but
your approach
Pelosi's
is
not gonna.
zero
Pelosi's not gonna
regulation.
sign off on that.
well, no,
Why?
no,
Because
not
she's
at
not
all.
going to get all of
I
her
would say-
bullshit
I would
pork
say,
attached to it. That's why.
What pork is she asking
Well, I
for?
would say government
She's
recommendation.
asking for-
not
For
she's
regulation.
municipal
asking
stuff,
for-
we already had that state health.
Yeah,
and
she's
government
asking for
regulation.
blue state,
And I would say
blue
that's
state
the best you
cities
can do.
and
That's the best you can do.
and states.
In a country
that
like
have
this,
their
That's sad.
pensions bailed
That's really
out.
sad. to
That's
say.
what she's
How do you
shooting
think
for.
that the people in the
Especially
other parts
California.
of the world that have done so
She
much
wants
better,
California
and, you know,
especially
I
bailed out.
can pick
That's why she wants $2 trillion,
You know,
so California can be
Australia,
bailed
New
out of all these
Zealand,
nonsense
Taiwan,
pension
China,
situations they're
Singapore,
embroiled in. Because
um,
they're
even a
in
couple
such
of the,
debt right now, and they've got so
of
many
the,
people
European
fleeing that
countries.
state
Germany did quite
that they've
well
got no
compared to us,
tax
too.
base.
Not
The same
anymore.
thing
Spain
is
didn't.
happening in New York.
Well, all they
They're
are now.
screwed
They're
in those
still
two,
good
in
now.
those two states.
We're
As
running
far-
right in
they're
the
not going to be
middle
able
of
to
the
pay
pack with them, but-
pensions up there.
Well,
That's why
well,
Pelosi's trying to
should
bring.
we?
That's why
See?
Pelosi's trying to bring
We've been
forth these
beating them for a long
bills
time. Now
because
they're
Well,
states
and
have gotten
again,
themselves
it's-
into
it's-
such
anyway,
how do
financial
we look
woes
as
because
the
of their
strongest
crappy
the people
policies.
that we're
And now
supposed to be the
Pelosi's trying to
shining
attach
light on
that
the hill
to a COVID
with
relief
all
bill.
the,
That's
you know,
bullshit.
with all the riches, with
Which
all
two
the
states
knowledge, and with all
are the
the,
ones that provide
you
the
know,
most to the federal
democracy
government
and
as
all
far
the other
as
things. How do
monetary
we
Well, of
look
course,
look
of
like
course, New
to
York
the
and
rest of the
California,
world when
Well,
we
there you
because they
go.
have the most income.
tamp this down
Oh,
within
there
our
you
own
go.
country?
But why?
Well,
why is it? Why
So
is
when they
it
need
that
help, why don't
if
you wanna help
consider
them?
it seriously?
Why don't you wanna help them when they
Again,
need
you've
help?
got to look at trade-offs.
Huh?
You got to say, but okay, New York well, and the California United States can't put is together a country um, that financial
has as first and foremost
budget
its
packages
priority,
that keep their state solvent.
freedom of the individual.
They've got all that,
And,
they've got
you know,
all that
if
tax
that's our
base out
Achilles
there
heel, that's
running
our
around.
Achilles heel.
It's
Yeah.
not
And-
only does
and if
that
you wanna
tax
be a
base
country
go to the
where
federal government, not
freedom
only
of the
are they the
individual
largest
isn't your
contributors,
priority,
but that tax
then
base goes to the state as well.
you can be that kind of
Alright.
country. You might be
It
able to
does.
So
control
why
the virus
is it
better
that the
They're
two
the
than a
richest
country
states
where
but they're
freedom of the
positive
individual
cash
isn't the
flow
priority.
Government, not
Do
negative.
you think that
If you
Australia
want to use
and
that
New
analogy,
Zealand
why
don't
don't you
have
take
freedom?
like, Mississippi,
do,
Alabama,
but
Kentucky,
but
Not
this
as
is-
much
and
as
you
us,
tell
though.
them that, hey,
We've got a lot more freedom.
you only
They-
get what you
they-
put in.
I
from
think
now
I think
on,
that I don't
right?
think they prioritize freedom of the individual like the United States does. I don't think
well, I'm
any
not so sure
country,
that's
any
not
country
true.
in
I'd
the
have to
world
look at
does.
the numbers, but
I'm just
but
telling
that's,
you,
you know,
they take out a
that's,
whole
you
lot
know,
more than
and-
they put
and
in.
in a situation
That's why
like
they voted
this,
for McConnell again to stay in there.
is that
because
the price you
he
pay?
counts it even
Might
in his.
be.
I live on the
Is
border
freedom
of
so the
Kentucky.
question
I
is,
see his ads.
are you willing to
He's
trade
done more
off
for Kentucky
freedom
than
of the
anybody.
individual
He is
for
their
a performance on something
golden
like
ring
a
that they're hanging
pandemic
on
like
to, so they get more
COVID-19
money into their
or
state
results
from the
like New
federal
Zealand
well,
or
I don't
Australia?
think. Yeah, I don't
Are
think
you
that's
willing to
true.
trade that? I
I
don't think that's why people
Right.
vote for
That's the
McConnell
question.
at all.
So if I'm,
I-
if I'm an adversary
I
of
don't.
the United States,
That's not why I vote
if
for
I'm finally
Republicans.
fed up and sick of
I don't. I don't
sanctions
vote for Republicans
and,
so
the
they can get more
United
money
States
to my
has been
state.
bending my arm
I don't
about,
need more money
you know,
to my state.
nuclear materials or something like that.
I think most
I wouldn't
Republicans vote
invest
for
in a nuclear
Republicans
weapon
because they're
whatsoever
hoping
for the United
that
States.
Republican
Mhm.
will act
That's
in
just-
such a way
that's just
that
like-
keeps the federal government out of
That's
their way.
just like
That's
so what's
it.
going on
How ma-
behind the curtain
how many-
on the other side?
How many states
Anything that you could bring
are
in here
positive cash
biologically
flow versus negative cash flow?
and be able to
Are they
put
mostly
in
like
would
blue
absolutely
states
wipe
that,
us out. Put into the
and we've
federal
shown it
government
now.
and the
We've
red
shown
states take
our-
out our Achilles heel.
I
like
haven't
you
looked at
just
the
said.
numbers.
So-
That would be
Yeah,
an
that's
interesting.
interesting,
That would
right?
be an interesting study.
Think about
to
that
see
one for a while.
if
you
the
took,
federal government is making money
10 cities in the United
off of,
States,
say,
and
New
you
York.
released a
I
Ebola.
would, if they are, I would say it would be
Yeah.
marginal. In other words, for the
Yeah,
amount of
what if-
money
yeah,
that New
what
York
if- what if
State gets
you,
from the federal
When
government
if
compared
you
to
were,
what it puts
we're,
in,
we're
I would say it'd
studying
be marginal.
a
Might be something to look
coronavirus in
into.
in
I
a
don't know the
lab in
numbers.
Wuhan,
We'll have to
and
look
you
that
just
one up after
accidentally
we
let
do
it
today,
get
but I can
out.
tell you
See,
it's
Yep.
substantial.
just accidentally
California
Yeah.
the same
let
way.
it get out to see how it
And I
affects
can
the
tell you
United
that the other
States.
ones, they're
Got a
they're
pretty good
getting
test
money
case.
from the state.
Yeah, because
All-
we're
are
because
mostly
yeah,
red
you're
states.
right.
It's like
That is the
there's
Achilles, and that's the whole
red
thing with
states are
the
welfare
war on
queens
terror.
of our
Is
United
the
States.
only surefire way to fight the war on terror is
Well,
to take away
that
individual
wouldn't surprise
freedoms.
me, but
The only
but at
way,
the same
the
time,
only
what
surefire
what are
way
we talking about
to
here?
fight
We're talking
something
about
like a pandemic
citizens
is start taking away
paying into the
individual
federal
freedoms.
government, right?
And,
we're
it,
talking
and if
about,
and if
we're
that's
talking
the
about
aims
the
of one of our
richest
adversaries,
Americans
that would be that would be the way
who
I'd
live
go.
in New York and
Yeah,
LA. No
absolutely.
question about it.
Okay,
No
if
question
the-
about it.
If one of our adversaries wanted to drop
The richest Americans.
whatever
they're-
virus they
should
wanted
they
to.
not
I
be
mean,
Yeah.
contributing
we
more
had
into
a
the
we had a
federal
really
government.
good test case here. You just
Well,
used
they
the
should
test
pay more
case
taxes.
terminology.
I'm okay.
Had a
with
really
that.
good
Yeah.
test case
Yeah,
that we got dropped
right. And
on
so
us.
so
But now
the
you're
war
getting back to
from China
democratic
somehow.
principles. I don't know if
Socialist
anybody released
principles
it,
that
but we got the
they-
rich
right,
people
so-
paying
right,
more,
so-
the poor
right,
people
so-
get out. But
yeah,
somehow
but-
we got to drop
but
upon
you're
us.
arguing. So you're arguing
And,
against that.
I-
You're saying
no,
that
I'm not
California-
arguing against it. I'm just
And-
So
giving
you're
you a
not.
fact. If we
because
got a
you
real
just
ugly
said, no,
one,
you
like
just said that New York and California, because they
Like
pay
Ebola
more than
or
everybody else,
something.
So what would-
should be
so
bailed
what
out
would
in this
happen?
COVID package. That's what
So
you
what a
said.
country like
We bail
Iran would be
everybody
smart
else
to
out.
do
Why
is develop
shouldn't we
something
bail
like
them
that
out
and
like
release
No,
it
no,
into our
they develop?
population.
No, what
That'd bring
other
us down in a
states?
hurry,
What
wouldn't
other states are we
Yeah,
bailing out their pension funds?
So the solution,
I don't know,
and
I'd
the
have
only
to look it
solution
up
to
just
that
like
is
you.
give up.
Yeah,
our
we're
freedom.
not. There's
Check it.
not. There's
And
not
that's what
any
they
other
want
states that have
anyway.
done that because
So-
New York and
so now
California
you're
has
taking away
crappy
their freedom.
policies because they have
Now we're on a
Democrat
different
leaders
topic, but we've
who
taken away their
don't
freedom.
think along
Uh,
economic
well, okay.
lines, and they've
Mhm.
guaranteed these pensions, and now
I'm
they're
not
in a
sure where-
pickle,
all right,
and they're
maybe
trying
we
to use
won't
COVID to
dive
try
into
to
that
bail
topic, 'cause
themselves
I'm not
out.
quite sure
Okay.
where you're going.
So now, if
But-
you want to say,
Well, I think they're
but
building
if
out
you
more
wanted
than
to
just the- they're
destroy
building out
the
more
American
than just
experiment,
Because as I recall,
and you gave them the
they're-
choice,
They're bailing out a lot
either
of
die of this
cities
disease
that are just
or give
running
up
out
your
of
freedom.
cash because they don't have the.
That's the
I don't
choice.
think we'll have a choice if we get.
I mean, I
hit
know
by
that
that where I
the
live,
next
my
terrorist
property
attack, I
taxes
don't think
have
it'll
gone
be
down
taking
for
out
the
a
last
couple of
couple
buildings
times.
and losing
So,
3,000 people.
I mean, they
I mean,
hit.
we
a
just
hike
got hit
probably
by
in,
a
2010,
test
I think,
case,
was the
like you
worst
said,
case
and
of
we've
it.
already lost
And then they've gone
250.
Of course, they went up
1,000
very fast, and now they're going
Right,
Probably
down.
gonna lose
okay,
half a
so-
million by the time we're done.
But I know
I
that
got
if
you.
I was
So-
a country
so-
that had as many as they had
Want to
before.
attack the United States,
And
All right, so-
especially after
conventional
COVID,
weapons, you'd have to
Yeah.
use a
Well,
bioweapon.
let's just say,
Bioweapon
for
to
instance,
take out
that,
because
yeah,
of our
let's
freedoms
just say,
and
for
our
instance,
rights and our liberty.
that it might be
A
fair or
bioweapon would take us
equitable
out.
to say,
and
okay,
if you think of
New
one that's
York and
pretty fast
California
acting, like Ebola or
contribute
something
to
like
the
that,
federal treasury
you
more
could
than
take
any
out
other
half the
two
United
states.
States,
And it
literally
might
half the
be a
population.
thought to say, hey,
weeks.
they're having some financial
Right,
troubles
right.
because their tax base and
So
this
the
and the other
move
thing.
is to give up.
Hey,
our
let's
freedom.
look at
No,
returning
I'm
some
not
of that
saying that.
money
I'm
that
just
they
saying
contribute in.
This is what we
to
look
the
like
states
from
to help
outside
them out.
now.
No,
Get their
but
balance,
so
their
what are you saying?
budgets
No, so what are you
balanced.
saying?
How do, but
Because
how,
if we
we don't give up our
Let
freedoms,
Pelosi
then we're
bring
gonna
that
die.
bill to the
If we
floor
had another,
and
if
say,
we
look,
had another
New York and California are in
test
some
case
real
come to
financial
our shores,
trouble, and they
how
give
will-
us
how
more
will- how will
than we give back to them.
react to that.
And
test
here's
case?
the here's the
same way
mark.
we did.
And
So
saying
let's do a
the only
bill
way to deal with that is to
where
give up our freedom.
let's give that back to them, help them
I
balance
think
their
that we have to
budgets.
give
and
up
could
some of our
You sound
freedom
so
for greater
reasonable now.
good for a period of
100% on
time.
board with that.
to nip
Okay,
this in the
but
bud.
that's not
Jeff,
what
that-
she's
you know
doing.
as well as I
Okay?
do. That's
Okay.
not how it
What-
happens.
Look, what
I mean,
McConnell was
George
talking
W.
about is,
Bush
hey, let's do a
instituted the
very
Patriot Act.
targeted COVID
with
bill
the
right
Homeland
now.
Security.
$500 billion.
Of those freedoms
Let's not
that
worry
they took
about
from us,
the debt
the
that
mass
New York and
surveillance,
California are
the
in right now. We know they are.
et cetera, et cetera, et
We know they
cetera.
got problems.
What of those freedoms
But
have we gained back
This is
since
not
that
the
time?
place to do that.
Nothing.
For
Right.
one,
Nothing.
Yep.
and for two,
We'll never
what's
get
it going to hurt if
Nope.
we just do a very
And
targeted?
You know what?
and
Whenever I flew,
you know,
when I flew,
half a
before
trillion
911,
dollar COVID bill.
and I went
What's
to,
that going to hurt?
and we were the
And
only
why
ones
are-
that had the.
Why are
that
you,
weirdness.
Nancy
Like,
Pelosi,
I mean, I
holding
used
this up?
used
Why is it
to-
going to hurt to just
you
do
could
this
walk
little
people to the
one,
gate,
and then maybe
right?
we can talk about
And
the
you
bigger
could-
stuff later.
You could
Let's just
meet
do this
people
little
at the
thing.
gate when
That'll
they're
help
rolling in,
everybody.
on an airport.
Why?
You know why? It was
Because there
unheard
will
of
be
in
no
the rest of the
regulation.
world.
If you went
Because
to
there is
Europe
no
at that time,
negotiation with
you go to
Rich right
Paris
now,
or
you know
something.
it.
I mean, I went
Well,
to
no,
Italy
I
and
just-
She does that.
before 911.
She loses.
You didn't
any
have that kind of
freedom. There was nobody
stance
went
that
to
you
a
have.
gate or
And
anything.
there you go.
So they've
And
always
there
had.
you go.
They've always had
So
lockdown
so
per se.
Pelosi's worried about
of,
bailing out New York and California,
access to
and
those
she
places.
sees this as her only opportunity to bail
I
to
mean,
bail out
we,
New York
we
and
just kind of caught
California.
up with them.
and there you
right?
go.
That's all we did
And
with that.
no,
Although
and
we've taken
there
another
will not
step further,
be
'cause I
a
do
Republican
think
I
that
will
a
ever
lot of
vote
our
for
airport
again
stuff is,
if they say,
you know,
"Oh, well, poor
security
Nancy,
theater,
she
but
doesn't
anyway,
have this
that's
is
just-
her
Well, I
chip in the
agree with
game
that. Well,
to bail out New York and California."
and the surveillance
so
that has gone
we need to-
on. You know,
I would
mean,
never
think-
vote
think
for
what
another
you will
Republican
about
who voted for
Snowden.
that bill again.
I mean, he
Ever.
revealed some pretty
'Cause I don't play
disturbing
that.
facts about what
And-
W instituted
And
with,
You
with
have
the
to.
Patriot Act.
That's politics.
don't care.
And
That's
so,
politics.
I, you know,
Well,
and,
you
and
know
for
what, if
something
it
like
wasn't-
what you're
you
talking
know
about
how
with
all
this
started
virus
was that
is
somebody
this is a
said,
grand
you know,
this
just
is
do
a
this
grand
little thing
opportunity
and
for
I'll-
somebody who
we'll do
says,
your other thing
you
later.
know, freedom
and then later
Doesn't
came,
work.
and then it didn't happen.
doesn't keep you
So
safe,
now they put the bills
You
and they
got
wad
freedom,
up a whole
you might
bunch of,
die.
they wad up the
and
military.
you might die in mass.
You know, infrastructure.
You know,
They put everything
so
into
freedom
these bills.
maybe not be
and
worth
it's
it.
all a huge
Maybe we just need to
negotiation.
make
That's why
that
these
trade-off
bills
and
are
say,
thousands of pages
Let's
long.
trade our
And the
freedom
Republicans
and that's
I
from
vote
both
for
sides.
security.
That's not one sided.
And that's what you're
Nancy all
proposing,
you want, but
right?
that's
Let's
both
trade our
sides.
freedoms for
I agree
security.
with that.
Yep,
But the Republicans I vote for don't
All
play
right.
that game.
I think you
All
have
right.
to. I think you
Ted Cruz
have
doesn't
to.
play that game.
And I
All
think
right.
it's
Ted
you have
Cruz
to
doesn't
get
play
back
that
to the
game.
we
Oh
versus the
my
I.
gosh.
In a lot of cases,
Give me
Ted
an
Cruz is
example.
definitely a
Well,
politician.
He's a
I know
politician.
we always talk about
but
we
he doesn't
go
play.
over and
The
fight
thing
for
of it
our
is,
country,
that's
or we
you
do
know,
this or we do that. But when it comes
again,
to this kind of thing, there is no
I
we.
am the
We're
type
always
of
into an
person
I
who's
situation.
who
Yeah,
would
well, and
say that there ought to be a
and that's-
constitutional amendment
I think
that if your bill is more
I think you
than
hit on a really important
two
point there. To
standard
be honest.
page, two
that
standard
we- that we
Word
don't-
document
that we-
pages long,
that we
doesn't-
as Americans, you know,
can't
we're
count.
Americans. You
So
know,
tell me
we have
what-
our-
we have our
What
freedom.
bill Ted
You
Cruz
know, I can do whatever I
sponsored
want.
that was passed?
That's not what
he passed a
I don't
bill
believe what the founders
really
envisioned
really
as far
important
as
bill I
freedom
think
goes, because
where
they believe
Russia was
they
trying
couldn't
to
envision
run
a nation
run an
that was
undersea
completely
pipeline
irreligious
into
like our
Germany,
nation is.
with
Okay,
oil.
They
And we're
believe
trying
that
to
for people
tamp
to
down
govern
Russia's
themselves,
economy right now. He passed
that
a
they
bill
had to believe in a
that
higher power.
prevented
They had
that.
to be religious.
Mm.
This
He
is
sponsored
straight from the mouths of our
sponsored
founders,
and
that
saw that
that
bill
people
passed
could not
in a bipartisan way
themselves
without
to
religion
prevent that from
because
happening. If you don't answer
not
to a
only
higher
because
power,
I mean
How did he prevent it
and
from happening? In
your
when it was a deal
well,
between
I
freedoms,
can't,
Russia
I
and
can't
Germany?
remember really be very
right,
dangerous.
I can't remember all the
Mhm.
details,
but
and
it
so-
was
so I think
something
in a
to
sense
something to do
you're
with
right
upholding some
that
sanctions
if-
that were already in place.
if
Mhm.
Individuals
with
aren't
with
willing
Germany
to
and
answer
Russia
to a higher
and
power,
it-
because
it
at the
was
end
a
of the
threat
day,
to Germany, really.
you know, I don't
where
answer
we
to
said,
the United
okay,
States
if you
government.
guys
I
do
answer to
this,
Almighty God.
There's going to be consequences.
And
to
how
it.
how I
Yeah.
com- how I kept
and
his Ten
his
Commandments.
believe
how,
it or
how
not,
when I
loved
heard
my
him talk
family.
about this, I
How
couldn't
I
believe
loved
it.
my neighbors.
because he doesn't really lead with this very often. His number one concern was they weren't the way that Russia was putting this pipeline in under the sea was or stealing their wives. Or they already had several people die, breaking up their families, threat to their goods, or stealing their inheritance, the wildlife. I mean, he was. This is what he was talking about. This is what I answer.
Is this
to.
Ted Cruz?
Because I believe he was really talking about the environmental effects of it. And then on top of that, he was talking about how this was going to just and not pour so much money into the Russian economy.
Well, that's the high standard that
this
you
is
hold
something he
ourselves
really
to.
felt like
And
needed
we
to
hold
be
everybody else by laws
defeated for
to
the
the
national
lowest
security
standard.
of Western Europe and the
Right,
United
right,
States. So
but
that's just
And that
that's
lowest
just one
standard is
that's
the
kind of
floor. We need to
obscure.
keep raising
But
the
that's just
floor
one that
to
kind of
hold
stuck
people
out to me. I thought was
Okay,
really interesting
all right.
because again he went
I-
on and on
I
about
follow
that.
where
The
you're
people
going
that
with
died
this.
trying to put this thing in because the
But
Russians don't give a damn whether or not people die while they're trying to
if you
make
don't have
money.
that standard
And he
of
talked about
of
you
a
know,
higher
that-
authority,
Yeah,
you demands
it
of
was
you
it was
as an
interesting. It was
individual.
interesting.
So what
to-
does this
to
bill
take
actually
in
do? When
the
the bill
we
got
factor,
signed and everybody
right?
was happy with
Because
it,
I'm
and
totally
did
on
he
board with
actually
you on
stop
that.
the construction of the pipeline?
You know, he did.
We
Yeah,
are
they did. They
very
were able to
individualistic
get
in
it
America, and I
stopped
don't like that. because
Um,
Germany was.
I think
that that's a freedom that should be
yeah,
protected. But I think
if
as
I recall
individuals,
correctly,
we should
it
say
was-
we should
it was a threat to
voluntarily
Germany. It was
saying,
you know, it
we're
was
gonna
to
put
Merkel
ourselves
basically saying,
under
hey,
a
don't
higher
do this.
authority standard.
Because
Right.
if
But if you
do,
don't have that,
then we've
then
got
what
this
are you left
other
with? The
you know,
government
shoe
has
that's
to come
going to
in
drop.
and
And
substitute.
again, I can't
They
remember
have
all
to
the
bring the
details.
floor up, right?
Yeah,
I
so
remember
then
when they were
how do you
doing a natural
explain
gas
that, you know,
pipeline,
well,
twin 40-inch
I guess there's
natural,
a
because
lot
I've
of
worked
countries
in
So,
the
so,
gas
so let me
industry,
just
right?
let me just say
Other
one more
they were
thing.
doing a
that
twin
have a
40-inch
higher power too, so
natural gas line
they
from
they
Russia
they
to
also
Germany.
take
I
care
didn't
of
know about an
themselves that
oil
way.
undersea
So
line,
they have that.
but and I think
interaction
they
within
finished
their
the
society,
natural gas
that
pipelines over
is,
there.
I don't know if
And
it's,
then, and I
but I
remember
know
whenever
some
the
countries
senators
don't
popped
have a
up, I
higher
don't remember
power.
if it's
There's not
cruise
a
or
lot
not,
of
but
majority of
I do
people with
remember
a
when the
higher power.
senators
Still,
popped
they
up that
live
they wanted to stop that
harmoniously.
because they didn't want to pump money
How do
into
they
the
do that?
Russian
And
economy.
then
But
we have so many.
the right, you know, that's the whole thing. That's why we stop. That's why we have
This
Well,
may
I
go
think
off
with,
to another. This may
other
be another
countries is to stop their
Well,
money
we-
flow
well,
so they can,
yeah, I mean,
we can try to
religion,
cripple
and
them.
that sort of thing could definitely be another
Yeah,
topic.
well, and I think that was the
think
biggest motivation
that
with
the
Cruz,
way
even
that
though
those
he might have
countries
led
live
with
more
the
harmoniously
there's him
is-
being a
is
politician.
because
He's talking
you
about the
have the
dangers.
government,
you know,
that
has.
I
I
again,
doubt that. I think
Western
the
Europe
biggest
is
thing was
definitely ahead of
he
us
really
on this.
wanted to.
You have the
to
government coming in and
hinder
substituting
Russia's ability to
for a
sell
religion.
their gas and oil. That's
So
that's
so
really what he was
the
after.
The government should
And I agree with that.
they're
100%,
they're the
because
authority who
we,
says
you know,
what
we
is
want to sell our
moral
gas
and
and oil,
immoral,
right? Because we got
and
the
therefore
surplus now. We're
we
energy
worship the
independent,
government,
and we want you know that protects
I-
our
if you
national
wanna talk
interests,
about
and then
what
plus
the-
that, you know,
I don't
if,
think they
that-
worship the
that
government. I don't think they
prevents
worship
Russia
the government.
from
They just make the
gaining a
laws to
foothold
what's
in
moral and
Western
immoral.
Europe,
Well,
especially
right.
in
Well,
countries
we have
the
like
same
Germany.
laws.
So I thought it was a wise
Basically,
move.
I can't think of
Um,
any morality laws.
you know,
that
So I
they have
disagree
over in
completely,
Europe
but
that
we're diverting.
we don't
off
have. They might be
anyway.
even more
Okay,
open
sure.
morality
I'm more of a
laws
Well,
than some
globalist
so-
than you
countries
are,
we
but
are. I think it's
Well,
like our
no,
business where Germany buys
well,
their
but-
natural gas.
who are you looking to
That's
for your
fairly
final
libertarian of
authority
you,
on
but-
what is moral
Oh
and immoral?
no, that's not libertarian.
So
It
you want to
doesn't-
talk about something?
more
You want to
globalist,
talk
but
about
anyway.
something the United States is way
we
far
diverge
behind
from
on.
what our
The
topic
United
was
States,
today. We're really
yeah,
getting off
the
topic here.
majority,
But anyway,
or at least a
that's good.
significant
going back to
majority
what
of
we're
the
doing
United
with
States
the
still
bills
looks
and
to
So,
their religion
What do you think all
They
the
still
bills
look to
were
God
that Nancy sent up? You think they were
for
just
the
a bunch
ultimate
of,
authority.
AOC,
That's the
mumbly
ultimate
bumbly
authority.
or something
So
like that?
I
that she
think
sent
the rest
over,
of the
or
world
do you
is
think
no,
there's probably
as
maybe
far
something out of this
surpasses
whole
than
4
that, where
years that
most of
Nancy
the world's
and,
citizens
Nancy
look to
set
the
up that
government
maybe
as their final authority.
Mitch should have looked at, or
I think
should
that-
we just
that's
say
where the
that
United
Trump
States
never
is
passed
lagging
anything?
behind.
Because how many
No,
actual? I think we're both. I think the
bills-
rest of the world and
real
us.
bills. I'm not
We
talking
have
about
a floor
executive
of what that
orders. I'm
authority
not
is.
talking about
You know,
little sanction.
we keep making
bills.
laws
I mean,
to
something
keep
that
bringing
really
up
was
that floor,
meaningful for the United
so people
States.
have to do
How
what
many
the
bills
government
did Trump
says or
sign?
what's acceptable in society.
Precisely one.
And I think
One.
that's the way it is
Precisely
in other
one.
countries too. With
That's
their
4
laws.
years worth of work.
If you really want to
Well,
talk about a
And
theocracy, then you can
and how
pick
many
on-
how many
on
bills did
Iran, where
Obama
the
sign
government- where the government
in
is
8
actually
years?
run by their church.
that were
Yeah.
significant?
Well, and I think that and
Well,
that's
one great
that's
big one, right?
that's
with
doubly
the,
dangerous,
ACA.
right? Where you combine,
Yeah, and I would say one great big
combine
one
the
for Trump
authority
in
of
4
the
years
government
was the
with
tax
the
cuts.
authority of God, right?
Oh,
That's
Well, I don't
incredibly
agree with
dangerous,
tax
right?
cuts. Well, why is it? Why is it
Okay,
so
I
dangerous?
don't, and I don't agree with the
Very
ACA.
Well, I
Okay,
mean, look
so
at the countries
here's the thing.
that employ that kind
Here-
of.
here's
Pick
what-
Iran.
here's what
That's the
I
easy one.
found.
I mean,
And,
they
and
don't
this
make
is
any
where
bones about
you
it
know,
that
in
the
some ways,
religion is in charge. That's
I
all
mean,
there
we
is
could
to
talk
it.
about about 9/11, and that's
So
what they
everybody has to
but
abide by
this
those
is where
rules.
I would largely
So they have those
say that
rules.
that
They have
W
them
was
on
a
the
very
books,
unsuccessful
and people are
president.
abide by
because
them.
he-
Women wear certain things.
Point to one
Their
bill
status in
that they passed
society is different than a
that
man.
he signed.
Uh,
Nothing.
Certain customs. I mean,
You look at
everybody
Clinton,
knows what the rules are.
name one bill
So maybe
that was
maybe
passed
that's a
inside
more
welfare
refined
reform.
society
Huge,
that
big
actually
deal.
knows
Okay.
what their rules are.
Reagan,
Versus
you can point
they're
again,
not
tax
open
reform.
like
You can
us.
point
And
to
they
Reagan,
have
big
cringing a
tax
little bit. I
that
can
he
see.
negotiated with
You know,
O'Neill,
like we
and
have all this
that was
individualistic
insane
rights
that
and
that
everything. They
happened.
don't
Yeah.
have it. That turned out to be a failure. So maybe it's a more restrictive
I
society.
completely disagree with that.
Because
I,
it's
yeah,
guided by
I
the
think
church.
Reagan,
Then this
Reagan
whole church
economy
and
completely
state thing
set
we
up
could
the
really
past
go off on, but we don't have time.
the past.
Let's go back.
I
Let's go back to
mean,
COVID.
without
So
without
I think we
Reagan,
gotta make some
we
major
wouldn't.
I like my
you know,
governor
oh God,
DeWine here.
forbid, I don't even want to think about
He,
what life would be like without a
He
Reagan
gave us all a
administration.
curfew the other day. I
Okay.
saw a couple people
I
talking
think
about it, how much it's affected
Reagan
me.
laid the foundation
So,
for the
I'm
United
not out at
States
bars at
to
10 o'clock
survive
at-
since
after 10
1980
o'clock
until
at night.
now.
I'll give you a little anecdote.
And we can talk about that maybe another
25 years
But-
ago or more,
so,
when I went
time.
to
But
London
you're still
the first
talking
time,
about in
and I was down. I went
4-year,
downtown
8-year
and,
administrations.
we
If
flew
an
in
administration could
kinda
get
late
one
afternoon,
signature
early evening,
bill
got a
passed,
bite to eat.
you're in
and
pretty
we're gonna
good
go
shape.
out to the
Yeah.
bars and have a
In
few
fact, you're in
beers
really
and
good
everything
shape.
else. We
So
get down
Obama
there.
did it.
It was
He
like
got his ACA
9:30.
passed. He made it
Took
happen.
downtown to
Okay.
hot downtown
Trump
area.
got
I
his
can't
tax
remember what the
bill,
name of it was.
tax reform
And
passed.
everything's closing.
I wouldn't count
And I'm like,
W's
what?
because it was
10
just
o'clock.
so
Man,
milk
this was
toast
America.
that,
This
you
place
know,
would be open
it was kind of
till
like
2 in the
whatever.
morning or all night long.
So I
mean,
wouldn't
lived
count
in New
that.
Orleans for a while.
But
The-
Clinton with
they're open
welfare reform, that
24/7
was
in their bars
bipartisan.
and stuff,
That's
right?
huge. I thought that was
So I'm
really
like,
helpful to the
what
country.
in
I
the
thought it was
world
a
is
great
going on?
move.
This is London. This is
On
like the
Clinton's part.
center of civilization
And then
here. You guys
Reagan,
close at 10
you know,
o'clock.
I thought, you
Says,
know,
yeah,
his,
nothing happens good
along
after
with
10
his foreign
o'clock.
policy,
He says everybody,
his
if you go
domestic
home at
policy,
10,
I thought was
everybody
really a
gets up and goes to
bedrock
work in the morning. Otherwise,
for the
otherwise
country
they
going
don't,
forward.
right?
So
And I
yeah,
just-
so yeah, I would
thought
say
it was the
one
worst
bill.
thing.
Yeah,
But now,
Trump did one
later
thing
in life now,
that was good.
I realize why they did it.
I mean,
We'll
actually,
see if
signed
it's
it
good.
tomorrow.
Completely different. They
We'll
have
see if
all
it's
the
good,
clubs
because,
that
you know,
open late. Reagan's didn't
After
work out
hours
that
joints
good
and
and everything
everything's
else,
done.
but
Said and done. You
back
gotta
in
go
the
back and fix some things.
late 80s, early
And
90s,
I
they
feel
didn't have
we're gonna
that.
have to fix some
And
things with what
and I thought it
Trump
was
did.
really weird. But now we have something like that. Like if I go
Well,
out
we
to
might, and
a brew
you know, I
pub
just
sometime now,
again,
most
I
all of them
don't.
close at 10 o'clock. Everything closes at 10 o'clock here.
I
mean, there's
would.
those few,
I
guess, I don't know,
I would-
club places or dance places.
See,
or
here's
whatever
one
that
thing
they
I
stay
love
open
about
later than
Reagan
that. But
is
almost
that he
every
cut domestic spending.
bar,
He was able to cut
restaurant or
domestic
whatever
spending
closes
with
at
a
10. I think that's
Democrat
a great
Senate
thing.
and a Democrat
And I think
House.
it's, you know, because you do have to get home.
Yeah.
I would love to see
You
a
gotta get up in the
Republican
morning.
with Nebraska homes
Yeah,
to come
well,
along and say, "I'm going to cut
right.
and spending."
So yeah, and I think
I mean,
that's a big.
I think that area.
Well,
I think
and honestly,
we're just gonna
I
keep
don't
spending.
think
Just
that
gonna the coronavirus
is
just going to depend
be
on what we
the
want
end
to
of our
spend money
Republic.
on. I really don't. That's
Right.
all.
I think.
Well,
Yeah,
for a
I
while
mean, so what you're talking about, I think we're going to see something between here and there. I think you're going to, I mean, you're already seeing it. You're already seeing states do some more strict lockdown procedures, And then we've got the promise of these vaccines. God be praised that these are coming out. And I think, you know, so worst case scenario, we're looking at, you know, February, March, where, you know, it's going to be, we're going to see a very return to normalcy type of thing where we're not going, well, maybe
late
not.
summer at earliest.
Well, but hey, you've got Biden and Kamala Harris. You know the Kamala Harris. You got Kamala, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You've got them coming in. They're going to solve all this, right? In 2 days, it's going to be no problem.
Well, they're going to have to
Right.
do it in 2 days because they're not getting any information right now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because Trump's so evil, and yeah, they're going to have to fix all. But
You
it'll
know,
happen.
What
It'll
if? What if, whenever they do take over, and
Yeah.
we find out, you know, Trump kept saying that the military didn't have any bullets and the, you know, all the shells were bare and he built the whole United States back and blah, blah, blah. What if we show up over there, Biden shows up and they find out that there is no plan?
Yeah, great.
Never was one.
Well, okay.
Kind of like his
I-
healthcare plan. You
yeah.
know, there never was one.
I
Right?
don't. Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't think so. I think whether there is a plan or there isn't a plan, I think you're going to see a situation where mid-February, early March at the latest, this is all going to be taken care of. I'll stake my I'll stake
Put
my
$1
claim.
on. Just $1. That's all.
$1. I'll bet you
$1.
$1.
That way I can frame it. It's no big deal. It doesn't hurt either of us. But I'll frame
Yep.
it with a little note from you. I
Yep.
was wrong. Okay.
Yep. I will bet you by mid-February, early March, this will all be and Biden and Kamala will be like, look what we did. Cool. That's great. That's
I'm
fine.
going to say that we're going to be very lucky if we even have 80% of the people in the United States immunized by the end of summer.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I don't even think it'll be a statistic about it. I think it'll be we've got the overwhelming majority of the vulnerable immunized, and now you all are free to do blah blah. I can promise you, unless this administration wants to shoot themselves in the foot, that's what they're going to do, because they've got these guaranteed vaccines out there. All they got to do is distribute them. They're going to start distributing them in December. You got January. Once
Well, they
Biden
got to
gets
make
knocked-
them and distribute them.
once
got some
Biden
made
gets
for
inaugurated
December.
in January, then you've got mid-February, early March, you're looking at, hey, we've got most of the people who are vulnerable immunized. We really need to look at, and I think you're going to see the spikes go down, because I think we're really going to start to see a herd immunity type of situation go on. I mean, because again, Amelia tested positive for it. She got no fever, nothing. Major sinus infection. Same thing with me. Major sinus infection a couple of months ago. I probably had it too. I'm probably immune, right? You're going to kind of start to see this immunity go on, and the incoming administration would be wise to seize that opportunity and say, hey, we don't need to do this anymore. We got it. It's going to be fine. And we're going to be looking at 300,000, 400,000 deaths in the United States. Tragic, of course. Catastrophic, not even close. Not even close.
That's close?
400,000? No, 400,000 people died.
That's 1 in 1,000 people in our country.
I
mean, everybody likes to say, "Oh, that's only 0.0 what," but it's 1 in 1,000.
Well,
it's like 1 in 900.
Right, but you got to remember so how you're finding catastrophic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Catastrophic is something that just completely destroys our country.
911 was catastrophic, right?
It was, yeah.
We only lost 3,000. Vietnam War was catastrophic, right?
Well,
we've already lost 5 times the Vietnam dead to COVID already.
So again,
World War I was catastrophic.
Let's define catastrophic as something that is going to bring down the republic, right? We're not anywhere close to that. So if you're going to define 9/11 on those terms, not catastrophic. Shocking, terrible, awful. Mm-hmm. We hate it. Not catastrophic.
Right.
Vietnam War, terrible, awful. We completely screwed up in prosecuting that war. Not catastrophic. Mm-hmm. We still survived.
We're almost up to the same as World War II right now, that we would have enough dead from COVID in 1 year to the same as what we lost in World War II in 5. You have to Google that one. I'm telling you right now. If we make up to that 360,000, we'll have as many dead of COVID in 1 year as died in World War II.
U.S. citizens.
Yep.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
I'd have
not everybody. I'm talking about U.S. servicemen.
Right, because World War II, you're talking to millions and millions of people.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about us. We talk about the great sacrifices that we made, and the great sacrifices, not just in monetarily or anything, but in human value, and the greatest generation in the world, and all that we give credit to, which we should. And we're at a point now where we're losing that many people. So it's not an insignificant amount. It's not an insignificant number.
No, I don't want to downplay it. I don't want to say it's insignificant. What I want to say is that it's a number where our republic can continue, and we can continue to have individual freedoms. We can keep trying the American experiment, right? We're not going to be New Zealand. We're not going to be China. We're not going to be Australia. We're going to be America.
No, that's right.
And we're going to keep trying it. So I think that, I think that's just what we're going to see. And certainly by, well, and on top of that, here's another dollar I'll bet you, is that the Dems are going to figure out that that it's no longer politically advantageous to them to continue to try to do lockdowns, and you're going to see de Blasio flip, you're going to see Cuomo flip.
They've already done it. They've already backed down.
Yeah, you're
not doing lockdown.
Yeah,
lockdown's a dirty word now. That's 2 4-letter words in one sentence. You can't do lockdown. It's done. So it's like my governor DeWine. He doesn't want to say lockdown. He wants to say we're going to do a curfew, and we're going to, the schools are going to be doing this, and you know what? But he's at least he's still doing something about it. So
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, I think that's what you're going to see is you're going to see everybody starting to understand that this is no longer going to be politically advantageous to do, lockdowns or whatever else. They're going to be shooting.
Not going to happen. Right. I already know it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen anywhere now. It's done. Even though I wanted to when I was king for a day, but I know it's not going to happen because that's just the way America is.
Well, and I mean, I think that speaks to your genuine feeling of you want to save lives, right?
Yeah.
And so you and I, here on the Jeff and Matt show, right? We're concerned about people. We want what is best for people, which is what sucks sometimes about our system is the politicians don't always act in the best interest of the people, and that's on both sides of the aisle. Right. They act in ways that are most politically expedient for them.
Right.
And that's always been my contention is once this election's over, this whole thing's going to settle down real quick, and especially with the vaccine on the horizon.
Yeah.
It's over.
Trump said that November 4th we wouldn't hear anything else about COVID. All we hear is COVID. November 4th we won't hear about it unless it's still rolling pretty strong. That's all I hear about.
Well, yeah, and again, I think we'll see. We'll see some of it, but I think at the end of the day, once Biden gets inaugurated, then their administration will be wise to try to return us to a sense of normalcy, because that's something they can tout. In 2 years in the midterms and in 4 years in the presidential. Hey, we defeated COVID. COVID was rampant. It was on the rise. It was going to kill our nation. It was going to destroy our economy, and we defeated it. Right? They're going to want to be able to make that claim.
Well, they can. They'll be able to, and Trump will be able to say, "Well, I got the vaccine." Okay, so what?
Yeah, no, he won't. No, he won't be able. No, nobody will.
It's already over. Yeah,
no, because the political memory of most United States citizens is 1 week ago.
Yeah.
So for if everything returns to normal, I would say even by early spring.
Yeah.
If everything returns, I mean that's going to be a huge political win for the Dems. It's going to be a huge political win, because they'll be able to claim that they did the job that the Republicans couldn't do, blah blah blah. But at the same time, we still got 2 years to go. Yeah. And again, the electorate remembers stuff like 2 weeks ago. So for you to bring up coronavirus in 2022 is going to be like, huh? What's coronavirus? 2024? That's
but we'll have better health. We'll have better health care then for 2024. Anyway, that's what I'm hoping. Last thing we got to cut it here, man. We're almost 2 hours.
I know. That's good.
Last thing is, the Georgia race is still coming up. I did see a thing that Republicans are going to boycott that, just to that a lot of the people that are just really against. There's a lot of Republicans against Trump, so I think that's where some of that, where the Republicans had a good red wave or whatever, and Trump still didn't win, all that. I think where a lot of that comes from, because I think there was a lot of people voted against him, voted for him or for Biden. I think there was a lot of people that just flat voted against Trump. And I heard that there's actually a movement in Georgia now for the Republicans to stay home and boycott it and go ahead and give the Dems the Senate.
Yeah, that'd be one way to go.
That'd be great. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll see what shakes loose. Again, I think that holds about as much water as Trump's attorneys are saying that the Dominion software, completely corrupted the American election. God, I hope that there's nothing to that.
There's nothing.
I really do.
They've been using Dominion software for how many elections? Okay, and they do sell Dominion software to other countries. Yeah. And just like any other software, I can get on here and I can change things on my Excel spreadsheet to do all kinds of things. You can do that with Dominion software. Yeah. But you got to trust the process, and you have to trust the people that execute the process, right?
Well, and that's what we all want, I think. I don't think it. I think it's going to be a terrible thing for a country if there is some evidence that comes out that brings our process into that kind of question. And again, I just don't think they're going to be able to produce it. You want my honest opinion on it? I think that the people that are the most loyal to Trump are pissed off that they got investigated for 4 years over nothing. And they're like, you know what? We're going to invest you guys over nothing. investigate you guys over nothing, and see how you like it for about 4 weeks while you wait, and you have the tension and anxiety to wonder whether or not the person you elected to president, that I think it's vindictive. I think that's really what's going on. I think this is a vindictive political move. I don't agree with it, but I think that's what's going on. Right. I think they're pissed that Trump got the treatment he got. That he was a very, at the end of the day, by the electorate, second most popular president in U.S. history. I think they're pissed.
You're right.
I think they're pissed. And I think
you want to qualify that and say that Biden is the most popular.
Most popular, 100%. Biden. Okay. Well, no. I wouldn't say Biden is the most popular. I would say Trump is the most hated. No,
that's the number.
Most hated.
That's the number.
Well, but nobody voted for Biden. You didn't vote for Biden. You voted against Trump.
Sure I did. I voted for Biden.
No, you didn't. What policy do you like that he has?
I read the complete Democratic platform, and I really want everything to happen on that Democratic platform. And once he gets in office, I'm going to hold him to it. Like I told you in our last one, I'm going to be one of his biggest critics because I want that to happen.
Well, you might be the exception to the rule. You might be a 50. See, because I voted for Trump and against Biden, half and half. Probably more 25% for Trump and 75% against Biden.
The one was in 2016. That was the ugly one because I had to vote against Trump then, and I had to really. It's like I threw up in my mouth, as I put that little circle. I'm going to tell you right now, but I had to vote against Trump then. All right. Yeah.
No, you have to. Right.
Just because I already knew. I saw the vision. I already knew where this was going. Right. I've seen businessmen like it.
Yeah, well, and again, so that's the thing is the only two presidents I ever voted for were W in 2000. I didn't vote for him in 2004. I voted against Kerry because I was very disappointed with what Bush did with the war on terror. But I voted for Reagan. Well, no, wait. I voted for HW in '88 because of Reagan. That was my first year. That's the only two presidents I've ever voted for. Purely voted for. Every other year I voted against. I voted against Clinton. I voted against Kerry. I voted against Obama. I voted against Obama again, and I voted pretty much against Hillary in purely against Hillary in 2016. This was the only year I came close to voting for a president. Yeah. 25%. But my other 75% was against Biden. So anyway.
What do you got against Biden? He's not hurt anybody.
Well, no. It's not Biden. I think Biden's, again, this is another thing we'll definitely be able to talk about. Is Biden going to be a puppet? Is he going to last 4 years?
He's going to last 4 years.
Okay.
He's going to last 4 years. Absolutely.
I am actually looking forward to a 4-year Biden term. The gaps, the laughs, it's going to be great. But nothing's going to get done. Nothing's going to get done. We're going to win both those seats in Georgia.
So I hope not.
Just get your mind around it, Jeff. Just get your mind around it. We're going to win both those seats in Georgia, and that's how it's going to be. And then the Republicans are going to take over the House in 2022. 2022.
Yeah, 2022. Might happen. I'm hoping they don't get it. But I think that this is what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that Biden sits down with Mitch and figures some stuff out. And then we've got a few Republicans that don't actually mind working with Democrats. A couple of them that got reelected even, like Susan Collins, Mitt Romney. Those folks will vote with Democrats when it's time to vote with Democrats.
Sure.
And if we've got something good to go, even if we don't get the 2 Georgia seats, we still may end up with a tie for the new ACA or whatever we end up with, right, for healthcare.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what shakes loose.
Well, I think there's opportunity there anyway. I think once we get Trump out of the way and we don't have that much partisanship.
Well, right.
Because he drives division, right?
Well, and then we can talk about where why it is that why did the Republicans bring in Trump? I still can't figure that out. I mean,
I don't think they did. I think he worked his way in there and they couldn't get rid of him.
Well,
because the people wanted him.
Well, right. But why did the people want him?
As soon as he got into because he wasn't a politician, and he was a businessman, he was going to fix everything. That's the whole thing, that he made all these promises in the beginning, and they all followed him like They just, and they still do. They still do believe him. They still believe in him.
What's the over under on Trump winning one of his 3 nominations for the Peace Prize? He's been nominated 3 times for the Nobel Peace Prize.
0.
You think he'll get 0? Probably right. I
don't think
my thing is he might get all 3 of them just because he's not in office anymore. He's no longer a threat or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think he'll get any of them. I don't think he's done anything either. But of course, they say, well, what did Obama do for his? But I don't think he's done anything. This whole Middle East thing's been just a bunch of smokescreen as far as I'm concerned.
And you've got some European officials who sit on the board of the Nobel Prize. So, I mean, you don't get nominated to that by Americans. Those are that's a somebody else thinks he's done something right. Maybe another topic for another day. Anyway, all right.